If someone had told me that saying one simple word, no, would destroy my relationship with my own sister, I never would have believed them. Growing up, everyone called me the responsible one. My younger sister, Lily, was always the dreamer. If she wanted something, my parents somehow found a way to make it happen. If she made a mistake, someone else cleaned it up. And if she cried, the whole family rushed to comfort her. I loved her anyway. When our parents passed away a few years apart, I became the closest thing she had to family. I helped her through college, paid a few overdue bills when she lost her job, and even let her stay in my apartment for 6 months while she figured life out. I never kept score. So when Lily called me one Saturday morning, I honestly expected her to share happy news. "I'm engaged," she screamed through the phone. I laughed and cried at the same time. "Oh my goodness, Lily, congratulations." "I knew you'd be excited," she said. "And I already know you're going to help make my dream wedding happen." At first, I smiled. I thought she meant helping with decorations or choosing flowers. I couldn't have been more wrong. A week later, she invited me to meet her and her fiancé at a luxury hotel. They spread glossy wedding brochures across the table like they were presenting a business proposal. Then Lily slid a single sheet of paper toward me. At the bottom, total estimated cost, $85,000. I stared at the number for several seconds. "You want an $85,000 wedding?" She nodded with complete confidence. "You've done well for yourself," she said. "You're the only one who can give me the wedding I deserve." I honestly thought she was joking. "Lily, I have savings because I worked for them. I'm planning for my future." Her smile disappeared. "So your future matters more than your sister?" "It isn't about choosing one over the other." She crossed her arms. "You've always acted like you're better than everyone." Her words stung. "I've helped you for years. That's different." "No," I said quietly. "This time, I'm saying no." The room became painfully silent. Her fiancé avoided eye contact. Lily slowly stood up, picked up her purse, and looked directly at me. "You'll regret this." I tried calling her that evening. No answer. The next day, blocked. A week later, a beautiful wedding invitation arrived in my mailbox. Gold lettering, expensive paper, my name written in elegant handwriting. For a moment, I believed she wanted to fix everything. I had no idea. The invitation itself was only the beginning of the biggest betrayal of my life. Against my better judgment, I decided to attend. Part of me hoped my sister had cooled down. Part of me missed her. The wedding venue was breathtaking. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, flowers covered every corner, and everything looked like it belonged in a movie. Guests smiled as they greeted me. But something felt off. People kept looking at me strangely, whispering, pointing. I couldn't understand why. Then the master of ceremonies stepped onto the stage. "Ladies and gentlemen," he announced with a smile, "before we celebrate this beautiful couple, we'd like to thank our generous sponsor." I frowned. Sponsor? The wonderful big sister who refused to support today's wedding. The giant screen behind him suddenly lit up. A photo of me appeared, then another, and another. Screenshots of private messages, photos taken from my social media, even edited conversations that made me look selfish. Gasps echoed across the room. People turned to stare at me. I couldn't breathe. Lily walked onto the stage holding the microphone. "My sister has always been wealthy," she said dramatically. "She refused to help family because money means more to her than love." Some guests actually clapped. Others shook their heads. I felt completely humiliated. I stood up quietly and walked toward the exit. As I reached the doors, someone called my name. It was Lily's fiancé. "Please wait." He looked exhausted. "I didn't know she planned this." He handed me a small envelope. "Read this when you get home." I nodded silently and left. That night, I opened the envelope. Inside were copies of invoices, bank statements, loan agreements, receipts. Every luxury item Lily had claimed was already paid for, had actually been financed through enormous loans. Even worse, she had secretly told vendors that I would eventually cover any unpaid balances. My name had been mentioned in several contracts without my permission. Thankfully, I hadn't signed a single document. But what shocked me most was a handwritten note from her fiancé. "I can't marry someone who builds happiness by destroying her own sister. I'm ending this before it's too late." I sat in complete silence. I wasn't angry anymore. I was heartbroken. But heartbreak has a strange way of becoming strength. Instead of arguing online, instead of defending myself, I decided to let the truth speak for itself. Within days, vendors began asking Lily for overdue payments. She couldn't pay. The luxury honeymoon was canceled. Several expensive decorations had been rented and immediately billed after the wedding. Then came another surprise. Many guests who had attended the wedding started contacting me, one by one. At first, I assumed they wanted to criticize me. Instead, they apologized. Apparently, several people had discovered that the text messages shown during the wedding had been edited. A cousin compared screenshots. Another guest recognized that timestamps had been removed. The story Lily had carefully built began falling apart. Then her former fiancé shared his own statement online. He never insulted her. He simply explained that honesty mattered more than appearances. His calm words carried more weight than all the dramatic speeches from the wedding. Family members slowly learned the full truth. No one had forced Lily into debt. No one had promised to pay $85,000. And I had never agreed to finance her dream wedding. The person she wanted everyone to blame had simply protected her own future. Weeks later, Lily showed up at my front door. She looked completely different. No expensive clothes, no perfect makeup, just tired eyes. "I made mistakes," she whispered. I looked at her for a long moment. "You didn't just make mistakes. You tried to destroy my reputation." Tears filled her eyes. "I know. I spent years helping you because I loved you. I know. You weren't asking for support anymore. You were demanding a sacrifice." She lowered her head. "I'm sorry." For the first time, her apology sounded real. I accepted it. But forgiveness didn't erase consequences. Trust, once broken, takes much longer to rebuild. Today we speak occasionally. Birthdays, holidays, short phone calls. But the relationship we once had no longer exists. And strangely, I'm at peace with that. Because saying no wasn't selfish. It was healthy. I finally realized that love should never require you to abandon your own future, just to satisfy someone else's expectations. Sometimes the greatest act of kindness isn't giving people everything they want. Sometimes it's refusing to become part of the story they're trying to write. And if someone calls you selfish for protecting your peace, they're usually upset because they can no longer control it. That painful chapter taught me something I'll never forget. Real family celebrates your boundaries. They don't punish you for having them.